why do I like instructing? So, believe it or not, at one time, I trained people for free. I really like training, and before I was ever cop, and really before I had ever even thought about doing this for a living, I wanted to go and train because I wanted to train. And so I looked around for groups in my area in Virginia that were doing some of that. I found one, and you know, I'd go to some of their stuff, but to be honest with you, I got a little bored. So there's only so much flat range stuff that I can tolerate, because at a certain point I get bored. I'm just kind of that way. I'm ADHD. I get distracted. I want to get more energy out than that. So flat range shooting is what, you know, a lot of what they were doing. And so I was looking at, hey, could we do some scenario stuff? Well, nobody was doing that. And there's risks with it too. So you see a lot of companies that don't want to delve into scenario oriented training for a couple reasons. One, it takes more materials, takes more instructors, takes role players, takes a different venue. All of that costs money. But on top of all of that, it takes way more liability, because you are gonna run people through stressful things. You're gonna see what their body does, see what their skills actually do under stress. And so not everybody is ready to go and do that. So when I was meeting up with this group, we used to go shoot, you know, maybe once a month, something like that. And we'd go wear gear, and you feel cool, but you find out real fast that feeling cool and actually being cool are not quite the same. And I found that when we were doing scenario driven things. So I started writing. By writing, I'm talking like coming up with random ideas for basic scenario trainings. Some of that might be, hey, run that way 100 yards, do 10 push-ups, and then shoot a target. It could be that simple, and just see what happens. And then I started branching out from there. I would watch different videos online and be like, hey, what are they doing in their stuff that looks really cool and it looks fun? And if it looks fun, maybe it is fun. And if you're having fun while actually training, while doing something productive, at least for me, I retain it more. So started doing that more. Started coming up with like bleeding control kind of scenario driven training. Never thought that it would ever be anything more than just fun on the weekend. Well, then I became a police officer, continued doing some of that in my free time, got some more professional oriented training from a couple different sources, but the police academy was one. And the best things that I had in the academy, as far as like my takeaways or my learning moments, were scenarios. I learned so much more about myself and what my capabilities were in those moments. So that's what I figured that maybe everyone else would have too. So over time, as I was doing more and more of that, I think I, without meaning to, started developing more skill at teaching. I never really wanted to be a teacher. I'm more of a doer, and to me, teachers typically, in my head anyway, we're going to be stuck in a classroom. Well, that's not really how I'm wired. I can't stand still hardly ever in class. I'm always moving around. I want to be active. I want to do, not just say or stand. And so that's why I think being a police officer was kind of, you know, formatted for my personality type and my way of life. Well, then when I was going to get out of that and I was offered to come do this and train people for a living, it was exciting in concept, but I was like, man, I really hope that I'm not just stuck in a classroom. And we're not. And then I actually didn't realize the long-term plan that God had, where I was practicing writing curriculum and training people 8 years ago for free. And it never processed in my head that it would ever be more than just fun on the weekend. You never know the long-term goals that the Lord has, and it's pretty cool when you get to see how some things shape up and come together. I also realize that not everyone gets that training. So things that I might find common or just another day, when we go and bring that to people in classroom settings, or even better in scenario-based training, not everybody has ever had any of that, and so we can take it for granted. So I got practice doing that stuff for years. I got, I guess, somewhat more skilled in a non-professional way over years. But then we get into the professional atmosphere, where this is now what I do. And I get to see so many types of people, so many different learning styles, so many different body types, backgrounds, life experiences, ages. You know what's really cool to me? The thing that really motivates me in class is when all of them still succeed. That's the real drive behind what I do, is I want to spread the gospel to as many people as will listen, and at the same time, hopefully give people tangible skills about saving lives. And we've taught 7-year-olds in some specific cases to 82-year-olds and everything in between. All different shapes, sizes. But I want to see people win. I want to see their mindset shift. And that's the biggest thing, is we hold ourselves back. I more often have found that I either didn't try things or I failed at something, not because I wasn't capable of doing it, but because my mind told me that I wasn't going to succeed in it. But there's a lot of value in failure. You can learn a lot from when things don't go right. And that's something that we get as takeaways in the classes that I've written and that I teach now, is you don't always get to win in the scenario. What we're building is someone's drive and their motivations, so that hopefully if we do it right, by the time they finish something like Responder 3, they will believe, without me telling them, that they can't lose. And you can't buy that. It comes with difficulty. And it comes, I think, when people are driven to be better. It's really motivating to me when I see that transition happen, where they realize, wow, we can take a lot more than we thought we could.